The man calling the game on ESPN2 tonight is Adam Amin, who now joins us on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline. Adam, you haven't hiked or anything and are out of breath. Are you good?
What? I don't know what's happening right now. It's the air is very. Actually, you know what? To be completely serious with you, Forbes magazine did release today the most toxic American states, and unfortunately, the state of Utah and the state of Nevada are both towards the top of toxic states.
Toxic,
which I'm like really sad to report. This is really disappointing to me.
We call it an inversion. That's what we call it, an inversion. You tweeted a moment ago, I have awoken from my slumber to yell at you about sports. So what would you like to yell about now? We give you the floor.
I feel like there's so much yelling happening in Provo right now. I mean, it's tough.
True.
2-8.
Speaking of toxic,
shocked, man. God, I'm absolutely shocked. I mean, listen, I understand it. We talked to Ty and to Kalani about it back in October when we had Boise State BYU, and even then there was some understanding. Like, listen, we don't have the guy. No more Taysom Hill. No more Jamal Williams. Shout out Jamal, first touchdown, by the way, this week. I understood that they didn't have the guy and that they were splitting a lot of reps at running back and they were trying to figure stuff out at quarterback. But this is such a good offensive line. It's such a veteran group. You had a veteran QB. Remember, Tanner Mangum still started for 8 games. So it's not as if it's been this complete revolving door at quarterback. It's been, it was Hodge for a couple games. I know he got dinged up. But it's mostly been Taysom Hill, Tanner Mangum. I understand that this is still an offense that's been searching for the guy, but I'm just so surprised to see the offensive struggles of this football team. I'm not to say that they can't turn it on. Obviously, you guys are right. It's, Jason, you said it's quarterback dependent, but I'm just so shocked to see the struggles of an offense that has such an experienced offensive line that was rotating a lot of guys in at running back. I'm just surprised to see it.
So what other storyline? We talked about the quarterbacks. What other storylines are you following? And quite honestly, there's really good storylines regarding quarterbacks on both sides of the field. But what other storylines are you guys following for the broadcast tonight?
Yeah, and that's definitely one of them. Johnny Stanton has become a really fun story, and I think most college football fans would really appreciate it. I think if they've watched any of Iowa State this year, and they saw what Joel Lanning was able to do, former QB, turned linebacker, turned Wildcat QB at times, still playing really good at linebacker. This Johnny Stanton story has been awesome. I know you guys have been kind of detailing it a little bit, but a guy who won the starting job in camp last year, coming over from junior college after an unsuccessful stint in Nebraska. They have very high hopes for him. He has a knee injury, loses his job, and sees 0 time at QB this year. And basically says, I need to get on the field, man. Like, I want to play. I want to help my team. They put him on special teams. The second snap he plays on special teams against Utah State, he gets a block punt, gets 8 tackles. Jeremy, I know you tweeted about it. How many quarterbacks are you going to see that have a block punt and 8 tackles on the year?
Yeah.
And this is one of the guys. And then in that Utah State game, that was the game where Armani Rogers got hurt. So going to the next week, he wins the starting quarterback job back. This is insane. It's just so cool to see how they've done this. Admittedly, when we have this game on our schedule, and when we saw UNLV get beat by Howard week 1, I don't think any of us were really thinking that we were going to be talking about UNLV as the headliner for this game. But sure enough, that's what we're doing, because this is a program that's, I suggested yesterday in our production meeting, this is a rebuilding program. And Dusty Dvorak, our analyst, I think accurately said, there's not much of a rebuild here, man. This program never really was anything. There was never really an identity to UNLV football. They've been to 4 bowl games in 49 years, and now suddenly they get this guy, Tony Sanchez, in. He's improved each year. A guy with Las Vegas connections, a great recruiter, an honest guy, a good guy to talk to, somebody that's, that can be inspiring to a young person. And he's really doing the job, man. They're 2 wins away, 2 winnable games away from bowl eligibility, and that's a rare sight in UNLV football's history. So the Stanton story, what UNLV is doing, we'll tell some good stories tonight, and obviously the BYU quarterback situation is something that we're going to keep an eye on, obviously, as the game goes on. But I just feel like UNLV is a story that not a lot of people in college football are talking about, and I hope they start to.
ESPN's Adam Amin is on BYU Sports Nation. Yeah, to me, UNLV football is Randall Cunningham, and that's kind of it, right? So now they're 4-5. They're in a position to do something. They're a favorite against BYU, which is pretty gnarly. Let's talk about a couple of other playmakers for UNLV that really stick out. The running back Lexington Thomas is really good, and then Devontae Boyd is one of the best wide receivers in the Mountain West. That'll be a challenge for BYU tonight.
Yeah, and I think they want to mix it a little bit more. I think UNLV has seen one major improvement the last couple of weeks, and they've had some good wins. I mean, beating Fresno State in Fresno is not an easy task. You guys saw what Fresno State is like. Very tough team. They were 4-0 in Mountain West play until they ran into UNLV. So that's an impressive win for UNLV to pick up. And the thing that's improved the most for them is their downfield passing game. Boyd is obviously a very important part of that. But to get some downfield passing, you need to be able to balance with the run, and that's what Lexington Thomas has done. Xavier Campbell's done a nice job of that as a secondary running back. But I think what they've seen the most improvement on was with Johnny Stanton at quarterback, the downfield passing game's improved, and they're well aware. UNLV's offensive staff is well aware of how dominant at its best BYU's front can be on defense. You know, with everybody they have and the depth that they still have, that is one position where I know guys. You know, Kesey didn't look great. Hanson didn't look great. Kyrus didn't look great last week in some key spots against Fresno. But that's still a really deep part of this BYU defense. And the defense overall, considering all the injuries, has still played very well. And UNLV is well aware of how dominant at its best BYU's front can be, especially with the depth. So they know they're going to have to throw the ball downfield to win this game tonight. And if they're going to win this game, they're going to have to do so. It's going to have to be Stanton. It's going to have to be a combination of guys like Boyd. It's going to have to be Darren Woods. Kendall Keys is a really strong receiver. Guys who missed a significant amount of time due to injury last year that are really making a significant impact since they've come back to this roster.
Adam, the interesting thing is with all of the playmakers that we were talking about for UNLV on offense, and certainly the insane numbers that they're putting up on the ground, offense, very good. Defensively,